Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vows and Voyages podcast
with Josh and Lydia. So this is a place where we get comfortable, share conversations, and learn from each other.
Yeah, so come along for the ride and let's have a good time. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the all-new amazing podcast called Vows and Voyages by Josh and my beautiful wife.
Me.
My beautiful wife, me. We are in the building and we decided to do this podcast called Vows and Voyages just to kind of talk and reflect on everything that we're learning as we voyage through marriage. And yeah, I think that's like one word I can use to sort of describe this season, like learning on this journey. And so everything that we're learning we're just gonna talk about, and hopefully we can journey together and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. For me, Vows and Voyages is simply a cozy space where we can just sit and talk about, as he said, a voyage, which is like a journey. I mean, we're on this journey of marriage and it has a lot of ups and downs, a lot of different things that we experience. And because we like talking, realized we love being in front of camera, we like having these conversations, or like, why not, do something that can benefit people. And so we're on this voyage. We just said our vows now on this voyage, and we're just going to share different parts of our journey.
Yes,
and
sir.
So, being on the couch, being comfortable wherever we are, it's just like a comfortable space. Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about our career paths, or what we're currently doing, because I guess we're constantly evolving, but what we've chosen to do right now and how that just works for us and how it works in marriage. And So
everything I've said. I guess it's just kind of like just learning how to navigate that in a marriage space. I guess we can kind of dive in, because I feel like for me personally, it's kind of it's different from like when I was single and just a bachelor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even in the way I would handle my money is like very different from like right now. So like I'm a producer and I'm an artist, right? So like that's kind of like my field. It's very easy for me to just be like, because like that's like my priority, and so I'll be like, okay, I can just remove this amount of money and buy this piece of equipment that I need, or there's this money, like, shoot a video, like pay for ABCD. But now I can't just be so liberal with like money, because not my money anymore, it's our money.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And like I kind of wanted to start on the fact that I think both of us don't have a 9 to 5. Both of us are kind of, what would we call it? Not informal employment, I guess. And is there any special reason you chose what you're doing?
I mean, I decided to do music because I feel like it's one thing I'm very, very, very passionate about, and I feel like it's a beautiful form of communication that everyone can understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're feeling a certain way and you can't communicate it with words, a song can do that. And a song can share that feeling with a couple of people, right? So I mean, that's how you have like certain songs that can just vibe at your wedding, certain songs that are, like at a funeral. And like it's just this universal language. And I feel like for me, one of what I consider like my life's purpose is just to give people hope. And I feel like one of the best ways to communicate that hope is through music. And, I mean, obviously I just love also the creation of music and just what it does for people. Yeah, I do, yeah.
Nice. And similarly, for me, what I do is I dance. Basically, I'm into like dance and dance fitness, and for me, it's also from a place of passion. And like, I remember like when I was finishing grade 12, going into university, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew that I loved children, I knew that I liked having fun, and that was basically it. I knew that I loved people and interacting with people, and that was basically it. And I remember praying so much and telling God, and like one thing that I've always done is just be so real with God in the like realest way that I can, with just using my words. And I'll just tell God, like, I just want to have fun. The whole idea of being in an office, like, it never really felt right for me. And obviously we're evolving people, but like at that stage it just didn't feel like something I wanted to do. And I was like, but what am I going to do? Like, I felt so confused, but I prayed so much. I just thought, God, okay, I want to have fun, I love people, I love children, like, please do what you can with that. And I remember the moment I entered university, I got a job as a child care assistant, loved kids, loved it. And then from there, I actually met somebody who introduced me to what I'm doing now. And for me, it all just falls into like what fuels my passion. Like, it fuels me every time I do what I do. Like, I enjoy it. And so I guess for me, that's a brief like background as to how I found myself doing what I'm doing. And the unique thing about both our jobs is that like we don't really have that fixed pay. We don't really have that month-end salary. It's like here and there, and it also totally depends on us showing up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on us showing up. Like, different from like the 9 to 5. Like, even if you don't show up, you may have that salary at the end of the month. But for us, like, if we don't show up, we ain't getting paid.
We don't have a roof over our heads.
We don't have money. Yeah, but I just like the fact that it all comes from a place of us knowing that we're in what God has called us to do.
Exactly.
And we're fulfilling our passion in what God has called us to do. Yeah, so how has this worked for us in marriage? What are some pros of doing what we do?
I feel like a pro like doing what we do is we have like flexible time. I think we're able to schedule like work whenever we like, in spaces and times when we want to. So I feel like we've got a bit more flexibility when it comes to time. It's not just like I'm busy from 8 to 17 the whole day and I'm only free on the weekend. So we're able to adjust our schedules and make it work for us.
And that can actually, it's a pro, but I also see it as like how it can be a con. But I'll first like just talk about the pro. And I think that helps us. I mean, we're still learning, but having that flexibility of time also helps us prioritize our marriage and slot in time for our, like, it's us time. Exactly. I know like sometimes we do like bring work home, like it's after 21 and you would be working and I would be working. But then again, that also is something we're growing in and something that like I've learned we need to be very intentional about. Also seeing that what we do is in the arts and creative space. Sometimes it may not necessarily feel like work, and then you're home and you're like, doing certain things. For me, maybe I'm working on a routine and it's like, but I'm working, but it's after 21 and like it's supposed to be us time. So it is a place of navigating the voyage that we're on, and just like
like I was listening to one of Mpomi's podcast episodes, and like the guest she had on was talking about how like, not because obviously we're reading the 5 a.m. club, and just talking about really the emphasis is just owning your morning, elevating your life, and just taking advantage of getting up early. And she's like, for whoever it can work for, right? But like for me, I'm not like a morning person. I'll be up at 10. I'll work all the way up to like midnight. And I don't know, I feel like to some degree she kind of had a point, which is like for me now, I'm just like, I guess we also kind of need to figure out like what our rhythm is.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, obviously we do get to a bit of like work during the day, but we also do work at home. So it's like what's our rhythm? You know, like when we get home, is it like, okay, we are home, not working, or we are home, let's be home up to a certain time, then okay, you can do what you want. I can work, I can sleep, I can whatever. Like, you know, I feel like there's also that rhythm that we kind of also need to figure out. But I do like what you said about like being intentional, because I feel like, yeah, if we're not intentional, like anything can happen, and frustration can creep in, because now one person thinks, oh, we're supposed to be spending time together, the other one thinks, us, we're creative, we can work anytime. I've got an idea, I want to do it now. So I feel like intentionality really.
Definitely. So I was actually going to say, so like I love how you brought it out as a pro, but then like the moment you said it also made me realize that having like the liberty to put your schedule as you want, it really requires a lot of discipline, and the lack of discipline can cause you to waste a lot of time.
A lot.
Yeah. Which is something I feel like we're not perfect in, because like you have the time and you have like, you're not necessarily reporting to anybody but yourself. I mean, I have two forms of work, one where I do report to someone, and that one where it's like all on me. And so like you're not necessarily reporting to anybody, you're reporting to you. And that's where like the self-discipline comes in. And I guess for us, that's where the intentionality of what we're learning, these habits of being like being able to do the hard things, you know, now, so that we can get through, get past that like ordinary to get to the extraordinary, and be able to do like the extraordinary things, and get into the habit of like doing good, which is what the 5 a.m. club is teaching us. Such an amazing book.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like I feel like for me it's really helping with that, like just self-improvement, self-discipline, and just being in control better of your life. Or maybe a better way of saying it would be like leading yourself better, like being a good self leader. Just taking charge, you know, and not just wish, because it's the self-discipline is great. Like it's very easy for the day to go by, and like I feel like just recently I was noticing how like I'll go on YouTube to just like, I was like, oh, let me try get information on this specific topic, and the moment I open YouTube, there's something that's just got my attention. I'm like, oh, what's this? And then before I know it, I'm like, it's been 20 minutes, and I'm like, where did I open? I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to check out that, but it's like 20 minutes has already gone by. And like it's very easy to get distracted, but I feel like self-discipline is for sure very very important.
And on the issue of self-discipline, I feel like I'm learning now more than ever that it's okay to take drastic measures, like not like drastic measures in terms of you have to see the results now, but be drastic about it in terms of take your phone to the other room, like do the things. Like sometimes you may think like, oh no, I can do it by myself, but no, you got into this habit. Believe it or not, like we are in habits right now that we practice over time unknowingly, whether it's picking up your phone every morning, like it's because you got into that habit. So if it means doing the drastic measures, like take your phone out of the room. You said something about getting an alarm clock. Like actually having an alarm clock so that the phones are away. So that the phones are away, and you don't have to like use your phone alarm and then find yourself on Instagram or whatever it is, or replying to a message. So you have that actual alarm clock in your room. Like do the drastic measures to get out of the bad habit so that you can get into the good habit. That was a bit on discipline.
I wanted to touch on a little bit of like intentionality, especially like with with our career choices, right? So we are the drivers of that. So no one day is just gonna wake up and promote us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as I kind of feel like I'm also in that space for growth. Again, like being an entrepreneur, and like before, how it was before for me was, oh, my business is making money.
Yeah.
It can pay my bills. I can eat. I'm fine, right? I didn't have the mindset of I need this thing to grow. But I feel like now more than ever, I'm realizing that I really need for it to grow, because it needs to cater to more than just, oh, we can do lunch, we can get some clothes here and there, we can pay rent. Like, it needs to cater for more things, because now we're doing more things, we're planning for more things. We're planning to build, we're planning to obviously have children who in and of themselves are a bill. And it's the system before can't sustain where we're going. We need to be the drivers of growth, for our businesses, growth for our finances, so that's also another space of learning and getting into that. And I feel like also I like what you said about, like, I'll paraphrase, almost like in a sense of not having like the pressure to like have the results now and achieve the results now, but I feel like just becoming a better person, becoming disciplined. And I feel like instilling the discipline over a period of time will give you the results. And I feel like that's also just something about like my character or my personality is, sometimes when I see something, like, I want to make sure like the results are like there, or I'll start getting frustrated. But I guess even just the whole routine of just getting up early and reflecting has really made me realize that even while you're on this journey of like self-discipline and like self-improvement and just leading yourself better, like God plays a huge role as well in reminding you who you are, because it's very easy to get lost in the so I'm not disciplined, so I haven't grown my business, what have I been doing? And God really just comes in to remind you again, with grace and truth, who you are, what you're able to do, and also just to walk with you through that process. So I feel like that's kind of like a space I'm in of just learning, and just steadily applying that. And
nice. I really agree with that. And actually, like, writing off what you said, like how God reminds us, I feel like the career choices we've chosen really require like depending on God. Well, for me, because it's just not an easy work and money situation. Like, as I said in the beginning, like the guarantee of this, like, it's going out to look for work, it's the numbers, like, are they going to register, is this going to happen? And for me, like, in the beginning of all this, and I guess that's why, like, it's a journey, it's a voyage, and you have to navigate it. I remember having so many times where, like, I would have anxiety because this number of clients haven't registered, or like, I'm used to getting this amount of money this season, and then the next season it drops drastically. And like, but for me, one thing that has really stood out is just God's provision, and how like I've gotten to see more that everything I have comes from Him in a real way. Like, I've seen it in a real way. And like, also having seasons where, like, even though the clients haven't turned out the way you thought they would, but you still are able to survive. Like, you're still able to have this provision, you're still able to, and it's so crazy. Like, for me, I remember once I was really like exhausting myself with work, and I was like having all these classes and like, and I was getting tired, I was getting sick, like I was having the flu so much. And then like, I thought God just tell me, just let go of this. There's this one job I was doing, like, just let go of it. And it took me so long to let go of that job, because I was like, but my money will reduce and this will happen. And then like, my body was like, I was getting tired, and it was like, I was like, okay, I trust you, Lord, and I'm going to let go of this. And honestly, it wasn't mostly because I trust God, but only because like I was failing physically. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, the element of trust was there. But yeah, so I let go of that, and God brought clients in another way. Like I didn't have to stress myself and work an extra hour. He brought more clients in another job that I was doing, which even took my pay like higher. And so for me, like having those seasons of where I'm like asking God, like, okay, this is not working out. I remember once, like, when I don't know what was happening, but for a certain period of time, maybe it was COVID, I think, like I couldn't work, and now like there was no money. And like I just had such a long period of rest, and the previous day was so busy, and like I was like moving, and like I just felt like I had such a long period of rest, not much money coming in. But when like that period was over, like it was like back to busy and so much. And then that also taught me like, hey, acknowledge the periods of rest and accept them, because God will always come through. So like it's just being able to have this relationship with God and see him come through in many different ways through my career path, and just him always re-emphasizing like depend on me, like trust in me, rely on me, lean on me. It's not about you, it's not about what you can do, it's not about how many things you can do, but like it's all from me. And so yeah, I think for me, like it's been such a light shown into my relationship with God, and even bringing it to our marriage, like it just strengthens that dependency on God. Like we know, like God will come through for us. If it's rent that we need, God will come through for us. And I feel like, sorry, I've spoken for so much, but I feel like we also saw it even during our wedding planning season. Like we just saw God come through for us, and it's just it's in our DNA. It's in the DNA of our marriage and of who we are.
Yeah, like God just he always comes through. Right, like I don't think there's been a time where we can say like, okay, God has not come through for us. Like like he always comes through. And I guess even just kind of like to like sum up everything you said, is like there's a lot of intentionality in everything we do. And obviously now we just kind of realize it more in like our career path and like our career choices. Like we really have to be intentional about it. But at the same time, now being intentional, like God comes to like there's a trust and reliance on God. We know that when we apply ourselves, he shows up. Right? He's that faithful. So
yeah, I think for me, bringing it home, and a lesson that I would like to leave with everyone is, and like, do you like, if you is being in an office and having a 9 to 5, do it diligently and still depend on God in that, still be disciplined, still have those good practices. And if you feels like that's not for you, like I'm not going down that path, don't be afraid to step into whatever it is that feels right, that feels like God, that you feel God has called you for. And like I remember one of the podcasts we're listening to, is like, you may not know everything at once, but just follow those little pieces. Like if for me it was my love for children, for him it was his love for music. Like just step into those things, and God will definitely come through for you. I just wanted to say this scripture. It's what came like when we're talking, I really felt it in my heart.
Man of God.
It's Psalms 37 verse 25. I was once young and now I'm old, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread. And I feel like that's really a testimony for us. Like we've never been forsaken, we've never lacked anything, even in stepping in what seems to be not safe, or stepping into something different. We've really just still seen the hand of God and grown through it.
And I feel like also there's a peace that it comes with, right? Like there are moments when it's hard, and it's definitely not easy, but like there's a peace that comes with knowing you're right in the middle of where God wants you to be.
Truly.
And like, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah.
Sorry, before we actually end, do you want to talk a bit more about the hard times? Because I feel like we've really highlighted like just mainly good, and I feel like especially we both have had difficult times, but especially for you, like where things are just so uncertain and you've had those doubts of like, is this where I'm supposed to be? And there are those seasons where it's dry, like there's no money coming in. Like, how's that been for you?
I feel like it's been, there have been frustrating times, right? And I feel like even in those moments, it takes almost like taking a step back and kind of introspecting and processing everything and how you feel. And I feel like for me, in those moments where I've been like the most frustrated is when there's no money. Right? So you find there's been some moments where, okay, you're stressed, but you're working and whatever, it's hard, you're tired, but you're working. But I feel like for me, the most frustrating part is when there's just no money coming in. And I was able to okay, so, you process and you reflect and like, okay, so I'm frustrated because there's no money. But then now, without processing that and just feeling the frustration, it's like, I'm just doing the wrong thing. Maybe I'm not being impactful. I'm not doing blah, blah, blah. Maybe I should do something else. When you just think about it, it's like, okay, it's just no money. So I need to apply myself. What do I need to do different? And I feel like for me, I've had to do a lot of that. And then sometimes it's just a case of, I'm not applying myself. I'm just kind of chilling. And a lot of my clients have come via word of mouth. I've done a project for this person recommends me. I got your number from this person. Like, majority of it is that chunk. And then I would get lazy and be like, I'm sure I can do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna apply myself. I'm not gonna push. I'm not gonna talk to this person. Hey, could you do this? ABC, I've got this plan. I've got this. No. And so for me, it's learning in those moments, and I feel like that's key to getting out of those frustrating times. It's what are you learning in the moment of frustration? What are you learning in the low times when there's no clients? What's the lesson? Because if you just take it as I'm just frustrated, maybe let me do something else, I think you can easily get out of God's will for your life. Just because something was hard and frustrating. So it's low. Business is not going well. What's the lesson? What do I need to learn to come out of this? And I feel again like do it with God. Because I feel like God just understands you. Like, he knows you, he made you, he knows who you are, what you're supposed to be doing, what you're not supposed to be doing. And so if you remove him from the equation when you're going through these times, it's very easy to get swayed and do something else, do other things, and listen to people who don't understand what you're supposed to be doing, who don't understand God's will for your life. And then you're like, it makes sense, so I'll just do that. And then you get frustrated there, and then someone else tells you something, and you just keep moving.
That's amazing. I feel like I spoke about it a bit when I talked about like the seasons on so that was nice. I enjoyed the conversation.
I did too.
I've learned a lot from you, Mr. Sakala.
Husband of one wife.
And one thing that actually came up as you were talking but won't go into it, I feel like we can go into it in another episode, is just how when you talked about no money, how there are seasons where like I would make money and he would not make money, and he would make money and I wouldn't make money, and just navigating the insecurities, navigating like all that happens during that, but definitely for another time.
Definitely for another time. Let's do that for another episode. So guys, this was Vows and Voyages episode 1. Please do let us know if you've got any questions. Like we said, the perspective of this podcast is just bringing you guys in on the stuff that we're learning. So
Yeah.
we're not here to come and say, let's show you how it's done.
Yeah.
We've figured out this marriage thing. We've figured out this parenting.
We're only 2 months in marriage.
Yeah, so,
but yeah, we love to talk and we love to share.
Exactly.
And this is us, and we'll do the thing. Right.
for sure, we'll do the thing. So yeah, it's just us learning. We're learning a lot of stuff as we're navigating marriage, business, and everything that comes with it. So yeah. Let's ask us questions. We see what we are learning. And see you guys next time.
See you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah. Mwah, kisses. Tell everybody about this podcast if you liked it. Voyages.